Welcome to the weekly program of Talk the Book, a day review, which is being launched by AP State Council of Higher Education for last 2 years, which is the brainchild of Chairman Professor K. M. Chandareddy to introduce the books to the student of this present generation, introducing the best of the best books of the present generation. So today we have with us Esha Srinika Bandaru of Geetam University, who is going to review the book on Wonder Guns, which was written by Varsha Adusumilli. Regarding the introduction of the reviewer of today's program, Esha Srinika is the first year engineering student of Geetam University, Visakhapatnam. She has been a meritorious student throughout her academic career. She got many medals and also secured several awards and rewards in co-curricular activities of National Science and Maths Olympiads. Dance is her hobby. Dance is her hobby and has given many performances. Reading book is a big passion for her. She reads almost all kinds of books, both mostly thrillers and inspiring books. So one of the such book is today's book review, Wonder Girls by Varsha Adusumilli. Thank you for it. Now I leave it to Esha to present this. Okay? Start it.
Thank you so much, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Esha Srinika. I'm from Geetam University. Firstly, I would like to thank AP Council of Higher Education for giving me this opportunity and the chairman of Andhra Pradesh Council, Mr. Professor K. Hemachandra, sir. And I would like to thank my sir, Dr. Ramesh Babu Ramanathan, for giving me this opportunity. He has always seen the best in me, and I would like to sincerely thank him for giving me this opportunity. Okay, so I will start the screen sharing. Okay, so the book I'm gonna give a review on is Wonder Girls. So Wonder Girls is written by Varsha Adusumilli. She is an Indian, and talking about the author, Varsha Adusumilli lived in Bangalore and she completed her undergraduate in Bitspilani, Goa. She this book is born in her best friend's wedding when she attended Jaipur for her best friend's wedding. So when she attended the wedding of her best friend, she saw that many young women came to her asking, like, they saw her dressing style and everything. They came to her asking, Didi, how are you this much updated? Didi, what did you do? When she told, and then this Varsha told her about her life story, uh, these girls reacted in a very different way. They were like, oh my god, these many career opportunities are there in the world. So, and Varsha's main aim of is to to spread the spread the many opportunities, to make people know about the many opportunities in the world. So, speaking of Varsha more, she began her career at American Financial Services Company, but within a few months to immerse herself in the world of startups. And she also set up a seed fund called K-Start for Kalari Capital, which focuses on investing technology startups actually. So the idea of Wonder Girls. Varsha Adusumilli always believed in the adage that says, if she can see it, she can believe it. So Indian women are getting educated in necessarily huge numbers, but they are getting educated, but that is not transitioning into workforce participation. So the main aim is to spread awareness of the many career options available for women. So there are 12 characters from this book, And these characters are I'll talk about all the characters now, and each character has a different story, and each story shows how she started and what she achieved, her whole life story and everything. So the first one I'm going to talk about is rugby captain Neha Patishi. So this is one of my favorite story. And so the story is of a young middle class girl from Pune. She was the captain of women's Indian rugby team. And before becoming the captain of the rugby team, Neha initially started gymnastic coaching with her father and later on played handball. So it started everyone know that rugby is a brutal sport. So only 1% back then only 1% of Indian girls played any kind of organized sport in their lives. So she found rugby when she was 15 and fell in love with it. Like, she actually started with gymnasium, and then athletics, and then handball, and later she came across rugby and she fell in love with it. So Neha usually has a lean body. She is small build. So people looked at her in disbelief. Like, okay, you are so lean. How do you play rugby? Why rugby? You can choose badminton or cricket or anything, because rugby is not a sport that is fully developed. So there are no, she cannot make that her whole lifetime profession and meet all the financial ends. So even though had all of this, she faced all of this, she chose to play rugby because she loved it truly. She felt butterflies playing rugby. She felt confident. So um in her family, she was the first girl to go to a English medium school. So, like, her parents were really supportive of her. Even though they knew that rugby is a hard sport, they encouraged her daughter. So she first started this mother had a gymnasium, and her father and her mother ran a gymnasium, and she got trained by her father. Every day she went to classes with her father. So, and one day when she was running in her school during a PE class, the school coach noticed her running, and he asked her if she would like to play rugby, if she would like to give it a shot. So but she did not know much about handball so much. So she tried for many years. In fact, she tried for 5 years, almost 5 years, and she couldn't get selected because of the dirty politics in the school's sports. So, and then handball, she couldn't get selected for handball, and then she literally gave her blood, sweat and tears for it, but she couldn't get selected for handball. And um, she wanted to play for the country, play for her country always, but she couldn't know how to. So she took up athletics. Then she she practiced really hard. She coached she trained like anything. But also, apart from this, she took a job at as a digital and outdoor marketer in Pune, where she lives. And like she came across rugby when a famous rugby academy coach, he invited her to her match. So she went to that rugby match, and then she and her friend went, and she totally loved that game. She was amazed by it, and she was so excited that she wanted to try the game. So she and her friend attended a practice session with that coach itself, and she thought that, yeah, this is it, this is what I want to do. And then she started playing rugby and everything. Like, rugby is a very brutal sport, but it also teaches the players discipline. Like, this sport gives players the freedom to express themselves. It all depends on tackling the opponents. So when she looked up about this sport and she started playing this, she thought like, I should not give it up. Despite many hurdles through her journey, she did not give it up. And she basically loved rugby because of the core values the sport inculcates in its players. Neha always believed that the sport of rugby revolves around solidarity, respect, integrity, discipline, and fairness. In early 2016, she was made the captain of women's Indian rugby team. So, and after she was made the captain, their family's financial situation was not so good. But even though she gave her best, she went to training. But one day, unfortunately, she faced an accident where her back was injured and she couldn't move her back at all. She couldn't move her back at all. And when she went for like went for checkup, the doctor said, no, you can't play the next tournament, that is the upcoming nationals. And she was devastated totally. And she did not give up then too. She thought, no, I should do this, I should not give it up now. And when she was announced the captain, she felt so happy that she cried, she called her parents and all. And she visited the hospital every day, she visited, but she couldn't see results. So she thought, this is not it, I need to do something. So she got the idea of going to physiotherapy sessions. When she went to physiotherapy sessions, she met a nice therapist, and that therapist said that she could play but not let her hopes high. She said, don't let your hopes high. I would try my best to make you heal, but you should cooperate with me and come every day. So even though hectic, like her schedule was so hectic, but even though her schedule was so hectic, she went every day to the physiotherapy sessions. And 1 month before the tournament, she was healed completely, and she was so happy. And after that, in that tournament, India won second. She was the captain for that tournament, and she did not believe in anyone. People said, why are you doing rugby? Like, rugby, you cannot meet your financial ends, how are you going to live your life, total life, whole life, by playing rugby? But she thought she wanted to popularize rugby. She wanted to teach the core values the sport inculcates in its players to all the uh, to the next generation kids. So she started giving classes, and she started giving classes in her hometown, Pune. And many parents who she trained, of the kids who she trained, came to her and asked, what did you do to my daughter? She is totally changed, she became fully disciplined. And coming to Neha, she is happy with her decision, career choice. So, and when, after a while later, she met the Indian national team coach. So he said something to Neha. He said, only 1% of Indian girls have played any kind of organized sport. So then she realized that the coach's words, and she thought, she believed in the words, you need to make a difference to live. You should not go regularly. You need to make a difference. So she always believed in that coach's words and moved forward. And the next character is, one second, neurosurgeon, Vasundhara Rangan. So Vasundhara Rangan was always a bright student. Like, she was, we call nerds in our schools and classes, we call some students nerds. So she was an actual nerd. And Vasundhara was really co-curricular, and she learned classical dance and music in her childhood after schooling. So neurosurgeons in India are very less. So basically, neurosurgeon is not an easy task. Surgery itself is not an easy task, and neurosurgery is also not an easy task. So there are less than 100 women neurosurgeons in India, and only back then, less than 100 women neurosurgeons. So her father, when she was 7 years old, her father was diagnosed with cancer in 1993, and his wish was for Vasundhara to become a doctor. So her father said, my wish is for Vasundhara to become a doctor. So she thought, I need to fulfill her father's wish. So despite her family having her mother only as the source of income, Vasundhara and her sister, both of them were sent to really good schools in Hyderabad and were enrolled in extracurricular classes too, to the best of their abilities, to the best of her mother's ability. Like, her mother did not give up, even though after her father died. She did not give up on her children. She took care of them like both the parents will do. And although having no support at all, the family really went through really bad, tough times and came out with deeper bonds. So she once, during her schooling, she got to act in an NTR's film. So all of these are kids. One director, that film's director, came to this school. They were going for auditions from school to school, and they came to her school. So that director chose Vasundhara as Kaikeyi. NTR's debut film. It was Junior NTR's debut film. She had fun, really so much fun during that shoot. Like, she got so excited about doing that. She loved the praises and comments that were flowing about her, but she did not let that slide into her, because that she thought that was distracting her from her actual goal. So she decided to pursue medicine after her schooling. She had a clarity that she wanted to do that, not only because of her father's wish, but she wanted to help other people who were like her father. She secured an air of all India rank of 29 in entrance exam of Manipal University. And once she got this rank, she was so confused whether to go into Manipal University or not, because of her family's financial situation. It was not so good, but her mother did not give up at all. She sent her to that school, Manipal University, by taking a student loan and giving her everything she needs to continue her studies. So later, when she, like, after joining in the Manipal University, she did it well. She had so much difficulties there. Like, she couldn't adjust with the surroundings, all of that. busy schedules and everything, but she went through it. And later, when she sat for Chandigarh University, PGIMER at Chandigarh University, she stood second all over India. She stood second, and she did not hesitate this time. She directly grabbed that opportunity and went for her schooling and choose neurosurgery. Like, very few female neurosurgeons in India, less than 100 women, as I told you all. During her journey to reach her dream, she lost hope so many times. She lost hope so many times. She had a boyfriend, she had a breakup, she faced so many things, and she would rant it to her friends every time, but never gave up, never quit. So Vasundhara had seen her father struggle through cancer in her childhood days. She did not knew what was it. She did not knew why her father was suffering at such a she was such a young child, and she did not do what know what was happening to her father. So she decided that she wants to help people like her father. That's why she chose neurosurgery. That's why she chose surgery. Surgery is not an easy task. Surgeons have to stand for maximum 10 to 12 hours in a surgery room, so in the operation room. But even after knowing all of this, she chose this because she loved it. And she thought this neurosurgeon job gave her the opportunity to help people like her father. And she got married to a person different from her position and was really happy. Once, when she was going through this phase of reaching her dream, she had a boyfriend, but she broke up with him and had a very bad phase. She was depressed, but she did not give up on anything. She would rant, she would cry, she would do everything, but never gave up. She always fulfilled her duties. And during university days too, I was amazed by this. She got a pocket money of 2000 rupees, and for a whole month she spent that 2000 rupees. She did not ask for other things, and she did part-time jobs to pay for the student loan that she took for joining in Manipal University. And that's about Vasundhara Rangan, a neurosurgeon. Next is CEO and fitness coach Nilparna Singh. So Nilparna was a rebellious child, really rebellious child. She hated rules and thought rules were meant to be broken, and she was never an easy child to deal with. Being grown up alone without much affection and care, without siblings, without parental love, she she craved attention and love from outside people. So she was always that bad girl at school, and she made it she made it her mission to follow no rules and break do whatever she pleased. During her college years, she got addicted to smoking at a very young age. That is a very young age. Before she completed her high school, she got addicted to smoking. And even if she smokes, she roams with people. She roams around the streets. She smoked drinks. She went to clubbing. She had many habits. Like, she was really, really rebellious, and she did not like to obey anyone. She always wanted to do whatever she pleased. And although she's doing all of this, she's getting a lot of bad attention. And even though she is getting bad attention or good attention, she loved both of them. She enjoyed having attention because she never had any attention as a child, and she craved for attention even though it was good or bad. her parents have had a divorce, and that took a very big toll on her. And after this, her parents divorce, she started distancing herself from her parents, and she started smoking, drinking, and clubbing, and started seeing attention from boys. And like every other student at her school or class, like every other classmate, she mindlessly enrolled in JE coaching, like we all know, joint entrance examination. She enrolled in that classes, and but she never liked those classes, and she thought this is not my piece of work, so I should do another thing. But anyways, she wanted to go out. She did not want to live in Surat. So she wanted to go out of Surat. So she secured admission into a college in Mumbai for media studies. And her college years, she had many boyfriends and basically roamed around without studying, without responsibilities, no discipline, and anything. Her life was a mess. And through around this time, she started going to gym normally because she just wanted to have attention from men, and so she thought she wanted to look more good, more good looking and attractive. So she started going to gym. That was a really selfish reason to go to gym. Like she went to gym, and she thought she started training herself. During her fitness training, she was amazed by the results she got in a few months. She started getting addicted to fitness. Like she often would look at herself in the mirror and thought, you have created this all by yourself. She felt proud of herself, and she started loving fitness. She became really, really disciplined. She would, earlier, her room would be a mess, but now she's keeping her room clean. And though she started fitness for a selfish reason, she made it her full time career. Like how she made it her full time career, we'll talk about it. She quit drinking, smoking, and clubbing. But throughout her journey, I would not say that she never went back or she never relapsed, but she relapsed sometimes too. But she understood that she felt guilty for doing that. She understood that this is wrong. She is mature enough now to not do things that would not be good for her, and and was in a track. And Nilparna was she started working as a fitness coach in Surat. So basically, she got two opportunities, coach at Mumbai or coach at Surat. So she felt like she wanted to go to her hometown and coach. And during this college years, she became close with her father again. And so she wanted to stay close with her father, and she moved back to Surat, where she took up a role as a fitness coach in a very small gym in Surat. Surat is basically a small town. So, like, she worked as a fitness coach in that gym, and from fitness coach to she became a manager. She became a manager, and then she became a CEO of that academy, of that fitness company. And she always believed like she always believed, like, put in the work, get better at something, experience the pleasure of improvement, transformation, and mastery, and your life will never be the same again. She Though she started fitness for a selfish reason, she made it her full-time career, and later on became a CEO of the same company where she worked at. And she said, if it worked for me, it's got to work for you too. So choose what you love, decide what you love. Even if you don't have a clarity, that would come eventually. give yourself that freedom to explore, and you would find so many opportunities. So this is about Nilparna Singh, and Nilparna Singh's character really inspired me a lot. I somehow loved her story so much, and was amazed by it. How a girl who was really rebellious until the age of 19 became this much successful and this much happier with what her life is. So, the main aim in life is to be happy with what we are doing. That's what she always thought. And the next character is artist Shilo Shiv Suleiman. So, Shilo Shiv Suleiman, this is another amazing story, and I would really love girls, all Indian girls, to read this book, because this book showed really amazing persons as role models for young girls. And going to Shilo Shiv Suleiman, she is the daughter of Nilofer Suleiman. Her mother was an art is an artist. Her mother and Shilo Shiv Suleiman both are artists. So she was born in Singapore in 1989, and when she was 5, they moved back to India because her parents separated. And her mother, even though she was single, supported Shiloh and her brother Sean to her fullest. So during school days, Shiloh used to bunk maths and science classes and explore the forests around her school. So teachers would often complain about her coming to her mother, because her mother also worked there as an art teacher. So the teachers would always complain about her to her mother, but her mother mm, understood her. She thought what was wrong with her and understood that her passion is art. So, and during these times when her father was not there, she fiercely, like, she protected her passion for arts and gave her the platform to pursue her interests. Basically, her mother was the only inspiration for Shiloh. So, at 16, when she went on her first ever solo trip, like 16, first ever solo trip, this solo trip idea was born from her mother. She heard stories from her mother about her trips, and she was inspired by it, and she wanted to go to a solo trip very bad. And at 16, she went to a solo trip with a budget of rupees 1000 only. And with that rupees 1000, the experience she felt is, she felt pushed out of her comfort zone, and it was life changing. And and later on she started blogging during her college days, and she always believed that art is a form of communication. She drew many paintings, and she also acted as a model for, like, freelancing. So, and she earned while freelancing, and she started blogging, and it became a natural profession for her. Internet is always her form of expressing her art. She always believed that art is a form of communication. She thought constantly sharing her art with the world only shows her talent and creativity and passion. Without showing anything what we do, how would other people get to know what we are doing? That's what she always believed in. And later on, she got an opportunity to speak at TED and got selected as a NINC fellow. Like, with when she was 21, she got selected for speaking TED. And her, with that TED talk, her followership on social media exploded. Boom. Like, in 2012, and like when she was 21, she started gaining many people who love her art. She gave her art to many exhibitions and galleries with her mother. And in 2012, in 2012, there was in Delhi, there was a gang rape situation. So during that situation, she became very disturbed. She became very disturbed about that situation and went to join the protests with other activists. And while during that situation, she was always bombarded with questions such as, don't go out at night, you'll get raped. Don't attract too much attention, you'll get raped. Then, after hearing all of these, she thought that we don't need any more fear in this country. If anything, any more fear, re- women should reclaim public spaces fearlessly. Maybe then the rapes will stop. She thought this. So she had a boyfriend during that time, and when she was on a road trip to Kumbh Mela with her boyfriend, she was asking herself this question: why do we worship women in temples but rape them at our homes and streets? So when she met a sadhu during this trip, a sadhu said this to her. He said, if you want to treat yourself like a goddess, do it yourself. Why do you want others to treat you like one? Why do you want somebody else to do it? This made her think. So, in response to this comment, she made a huge painting of goddess Durga with a cat and a little girl looking up at her. And that painting says, what we worship, we shall become one. And the story about this painting really amazed me. I really loved it. And about this painting still adorns the walls near the banks of Ganga. And her story is very inspiring. She always aspired to be an independent woman, and she always loved what she was doing. She chose what she wanted to do. She did not go with the normal career options and choose what she wanted to do. And her mother was the biggest inspiration for her during these times. Her mother helped her. Her mother would always be with her. And once in this book I read Shiloh saying, during when she was a child, when she was sleeping in her room, every morning when she would wake up, she would find her mother beside her. And that time she knew that she always had her mother behind her back for everything and every stage of life. And she advised and believed that when you do something, it has to be true to yourself, true to every star in the galaxy, and true to every atom of your body. And the success will follow you. And after this, we have another story of Prerna Sharma, physics professor. So Prerna is the first female. Prerna was the first female physics professor hired by IISc, Indian Institute of Science, in 27 years. Like, she was the first female physics professor. So Prerna's father would always say one thing: you need to study hard to succeed. This was their mantra always. We need to study hard. Her and her siblings. So she was really shy, painfully shy in childhood. She was painfully shy since childhood and till now. And in fact, she was a true nerd. She is a nerd during her school days, she is a nerd in her college. So her father was not a religious person, but they followed their father's religion, which was you can't drink or smoke, and you have to be sincere students. So this was always their religion. This has to be followed at their homes no matter what. So during her class 11, she loved chemistry. So she loved chemistry more than physics. But later in next grade, 12th grade, she found a very wonderful teacher and gradually started loving physics. She fell in love with physics because her father always told her, you should take up physics, you should only take up physics. Her father told, not chemistry. So she eventually thought she should keep her stay focused on physics because she would not be allowed to take chemistry. But fortunately, she met a wonderful teacher and he made her love physics. And she was always the obedient student in class who always got the teacher's attention. And she believed that only obedient students get the teacher's attention. She worshipped her teachers as gods, and she thought they are the ones teaching her education, so she needs to worship them. She only believed in this, and she was always studying. And for higher education, she got into St. Stephen's College and learned many things there for her undergraduate degree. She she struggled through the early semesters, but when she got accustomed to the place there, to the situation there, she showed her true personality and she topped all classes. Everyone was shocked. Like, this girl was used to be so silent. How did she come top all of a sudden? And then later on, she sat for JAM and JEST exams, and she stood 29th in JAM and 79th in JEST. She got she got two opportunities in Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, and also, so when she was doing when she got in Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, she thought her fa- she thought she did not get IISc. She felt bad, but she took TIFR as an option for her and did her PhD in TIFR. So uh, her father had a dream of her child Vasundhara, sorry, Prerna joining IISc. So, but so much fun it is. Like, she did her schooling PhD in TIFR and was hired as a physics professor by IISc later on. And and after her PhD in TIFR, she later moved to Boston for postdoctorate degree. Boston was really hard for her, but she was trained. She was trained to live according to the city's expectations, the job's expectations, and she she was trained by Dr. Ghosh. His name is Dr. Ghosh. During her PhD in TIFR, he trained her in every way possible, and she was trained very well to adapt to the new environment in Boston. And even though she suffered for the first few months, she got accustomed to the place there. And Prerna is always a woman who is extremely shy. She is painfully shy, but her shyness magically disappears once she is surrounded by all physics experts. Once she is immersed into physics, she would forget about her shyness. And she always felt thrilled to solve a problem. When she saw data that she had no idea about, she felt thrilled to solve it. And She got excited and loves the feeling that she had to spend some time on that data and come up with solutions. She loved that feeling. So she worked for that kind of joy. And her advice to young women is to never give up in their goals, to have faith in themselves, and don't let societal pressures force you to quit. So, after Prerna Sharma, we have Flight Commander Rucha Nirale. So, Rucha was Rucha was first fascinated by a scene in the movie Top Gun. That was the most defining point of Rucha's life. When she watched Top Gun with her brother, she was blown away. Like, she felt fascinated. She found herself daydreaming about becoming a pilot. And there's a scene in this movie where Tom Cruise races his motorbike as MiG-29 takes off the runaway. She felt like she had never seen anything more fascinating than this. And from that day, she started daydreaming about becoming a pilot, about flying. And growing up, she dreamt of becoming many things. Like, usually, we also have so many goals. We had so many dreams. I usually changed my dreams regularly. So Rucha was also like that. She changed her dreams every 6 months. So when she told her parents that she wanted to become a pilot, her parents thought this is also like one of the things she told. But no, Rucha was determined to become a pilot. And she was steadfast in her decision of becoming a pilot. And despite her parents' fears for her, she sat in the Air Force exams. So she always wanted to serve the country. And in what better way can she serve other than Air Force? She thought this and she sat for the Air Force exams. But unfortunately, she couldn't clear the eyesight exam and was left heartbroken. So after a few days, she totally isolated herself for a few days, for a few 10 days. And her father saw her, he encouraged her, and he suggested her to take up aviation degree. And then he told her that aviation and Air Force have different eyesight exam patterns, so you could try for this. And then she sat for aviation entrance exams, and this time she passed with flying colors. And after her training, she has took BSc in aviation course. And after her training, she took her training in Delhi. And after her training, she got a few job offers. And the first and talking about the first time she sat on an airplane, she sat on that cockpit. She felt butterflies in her stomach. She felt thrilled. She felt like this is what I wanted to do. We know, like, usually most of the people who first sit on that seat would throw up and become nauseous and everything, but she felt really thrilled and she felt really overjoyed about that experience. And after that experience, she called her parents and she was fully explaining them about her total experience on that cockpit, and she was very happy about it. And then she knew that she was born to fly. So people said that people always say things, people around us always say things. People said it was a risky job, it is not safe for women, she'll never be home. But despite hearing all of these things, her parents supported her and encouraged her to become a pilot. And she got a few job offers, and then she chose the best one. She got it at one airlines where she was first given a job as the trainee first officer. So in this pilot job, in this job, so the first job is always trainee first officer, and then first officer, then a commander, then captain. So this is the order of job. So she first got a job as a trainee first officer, and first usually trainee first officer's job is to observe and learn. So after trainee first officer, she went to trainee officer and then to commander. She has grown a lot professionally during a very less time. Being a pilot is extremely hard. You have no fixed schedules, and she would never be home. She would never be able to spend time with family and friends. She would have so much less time for herself. Despite knowing all of these, she took, she continued in her path because she loved it. She knew that if I do any other 9 to 5 job, I would not be happy. So she found happiness in this, and she did not give up flying because it made her feel butterflies. So Rucha wanted to bust the myth that women cannot be pilots or cannot have a personal life if they become a pilot. So she wanted to bust this myth. And being a pilot is all about sacrifice. So you don't get to spend enough time for yourself or your family, and not and these pilots also were conducted regular tests. They have to always maintain their mental and physical health. So she said she said this on a note note. She said, not every day will offer clear skies. On some days there will be thunderstorms, and a pilot, what does he do when a thunderstorm comes? You have to find a path and stay focused. So in life too, on some days there will be thunderstorms. So when there is a thunderstorm, you have to find a path and stay focused, stay strong in that path. And after Richa Nirale, we can talk. I'll talk about Ruth Sequeira, brand marketer. So, women account only 25% of brand level positions in publicly traded fashion and luxury brands globally. So, Ruth grew up in Goa with her two elder brothers, Luke and David. So her father believed that children needed to grow by having an active and outdoorsy lifestyle. Her father believed that children should not be kept indoors. They need to have an active lifestyle. So first they shifted from Delhi to Goa, and after shifting to Goa, after shifting to Goa, also her life was not smooth sailing. Her father had died when she was a child. Her father's death has never been easy for her as a child. They were a single income family, and her mother had to take care of three children. She was always ahead of everyone at school, ahead of everyone, every peer, every friend she has, because of her brother. Her brother, Luke, is a very educated and literate person, and he's an and he's a boy who has an entrepreneurial mindset. So she would always read magazines, books, and everything about entrepreneurship. She took this habit from her brother. Maybe from her brother, she matured before age, and although being an average student, she decided to do mass communication in Goa. First, she decided to do mass communication in Goa, but after joining the course, she felt deep unrest in her soul. She felt like this is not right. I don't want to do this. Suddenly, she thought of marketing and advertising courses and joined Sophia College in Mumbai. So, Mumbai, this is another story. When she went to Sophia College in Mumbai, she did not get admitted first. She was really heartbroken, and a week later she got a call from the college saying she got an admission, and she was overjoyed. And she started doing many jobs and experiments and all. I after got a job at Height Sign. She got a job at Height Sign. That too, she got it accidentally. Her her resume got mixed up with other person's resume, and she was called to the interview in place of another person. So after going there, she was disappointed first. She felt like, oh, this is a nice opportunity for me. But then she felt bad. But when she was coming out from there, she met a person who asked her if you would do another job. So at Heidsiein. And she slowly started growing up at Heidsiein. She grew up at Heidsiein, and she professionally grew so much that her career choice was never clear at the beginning. But she thought, doing many jobs and experimenting many things, she got a clarity on herself and what she wanted to do. So, what she advised women is, a career choice is not clear at the beginning, but you've got to experiment so much before you figure out what drives you. She said it will all be worth it. So, the next story is photographer Shravya Kag. So, Shravya is a middle class woman from Vijayawada. Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. She was grown up in a typical Telugu upbringing, and of course, her parents wanted her to do engineering like any obedient Telugu child. So she sat for the entrance exams and ended up with a terrible rank and got admitted in a local engineering college. It was a disaster for her from the start. She failed a subject and then threw herself in studies. During her college years, she in her semester she failed a subject. Then she was like, this is not right. I should be responsible about my studies. Even though she did not like what she was doing, she threw herself in studies, she immersed herself, and she even started preparing for CAT after her graduation, when a sudden realization hit her one day that she wanted to pursue photography. This photography idea came to her from her friend Nikhilesh, who is a director of a short film, who was directing a short film then. So she then applied for a course which taught of mix of photography, videography, script writing, and sound mixing in Chennai. So after getting admitted in that college, her mother was the biggest supporter. She felt she did not like it when she was doing engineering. She felt like she was not supposed to be there. But after she changed colleges, after she took this course, she felt like she belonged at this place. And after the course, she moved back to her hometown, Vijayawada, to start a business with her friend. They have done wedding photographies, but one day she was advised by her uncle to think big, to to look up photography courses in New York. So she started to think bigger, and she applied for a photography course in New York, and she met a guy there whom she worked with, and she thought, this is it, this is what I wanted to do. She felt belonged there and loved the job she was doing. She lived for herself, and Shravya chose the unknown path. She never knew where she was going. She did not have a clarity in her life. But this led her to places she never in her wildest dreams thought to visit. So the next story is casting director Shaumi Mukherjee. So Shaumi was obsessed with the television set. So she, as a child, she thought that behind the television there were real people existing. She, it seems funny, but for Xiaomi it is a very serious thing. That one day in a in a movie a character died and she was really sad about it. She grew up in Jabalpur, and her mother has always been her biggest inspiration. Her mother was a true role model. And as she grew older, her desire to jump into television was still alive. And in fact, it was growing more. So during her college campus placements, she got hired by like Z channel, and she gave it a shot to that job. She met many people, and one such person gave her an opportunity to work as a casting director. That person's name is Mukesh, and when she started working as a casting director, she did she she worked as an assistant casting director, and once she became fully immersed in her job, she did individual projects. Like one some of the movies include Madari, Haider, Bajrangi Bhaijaan, Badlapur, Bareli Ki Barfi, Dangal, and many more. So there was a story that she faced many things during her many crazy and fun experiences. She even faced life threatening experiences during her job as a casting director. Once she was stuck in floods for a full week, to, where she went to Kerala for auditions for cast, and she was stuck in floods for one whole week. And when she came back, she found that same character who she was searching for in Delhi itself. So it was really fun for her. And her advice to modern young women is not to be intimidated by anybody. And if men can do it, women can too. So moving on to the next story, actress Shweta Tripathi. So Shweta was awarded the Best Actress at Indian Filmfare Awards for her first feature film. Shweta did not initially have this thing of becoming an actor. It never even crossed her mind in childhood. But because being grown up in a very educated family, having her father as an IAS officer, choosing this kind of career path is hard for her. But when she got this opportunity, when she thought of doing acting, she fell in love with acting during her first play in school. And that too, her role was to act like a tree. But she loved it. She loved every bit of it. She loved the set. She loved the makeup. She loved the costume, everything. And she thought, I am born to do acting. And she has done her higher studies in NIFT, Delhi. She got the offer of her first film as a lead role by a director named Shlok Sharma, and for which she got the award as the Best Actress in Filmfare Awards. So after Shweta Tripathi, the next character is radio jockey Sucharita Tyagi. So radio jockey. We we know Sucharita, the path to become a radio jockey was not at all visible. She should have become a doctor or engineer. She was raised in a middle class family in Delhi, and she had worked hard for learning English and communications skills in her schooling days, because she always felt back with her peers. And like all Indian middle class kids, she too enrolled in medical science in class 11 because her parents wanted her to take up that. But later she realized that this is not her cup of tea and secured admission in Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University. She moved many jobs before becoming a radio jockey at Radio City. First, she got a job at Red FM, and where she was known as RJ Jia. She was not called by her original name initially because they asked her if she was okay with it, and she was just 19. She thought it doesn't matter to her and she went on with it. And later, when she moved on to Big FM, there too, they did not want her to take up her original name. But when she moved to another FM station, Radio City, she was finally called RJ Sucharita on air, and she loved it when she was always called RJ Sucharita. After work, she continuously worked for 10 years, 10 continuous years, and after working for 10 continuous years, she took a break. And after that, she always advises young women saying, pick a career where you can play to your strengths and give your best at it. So, and once you do that, work your ass off and be financially independent. So this was always her motto and advice to young women. And these are the characters I wanted to talk about in this book. And this book has inspired me a lot. And I would really love if all the young girls from India, mainly India, because in India we are mostly suppressed, mostly women are suppressed of from taking their own decisions, their own choices, and their own career path. So I had a really great experience saying a review about this book. And so I'm thanking on this note. Thank you.
Okay. Nice, Esha, for your good presentation in introducing the middle class girls who came up very well in the respective fields, especially not in the traditional engineering or medicine, something like that. They came up in a different fields.
Yes.
So the thought-provoking ideas are making them to their high levels. So on behalf of AB State Comes from Higher Education, I thank you for presenting another good book for students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.